Hello, good afternoon, everyone. My name is King Leung. I'm the head of FinTech with Invest Hong Kong. I'm the host for this webinar for you today. Today we have a cast of amazing speakers. And before I introduce to you our amazing speakers and the contents that we're going to share with you, I just want to have a quick recap. Basically, over the past few years, Hong Kong has come a long way. With the hard work from a lot of our stakeholders in the ecosystem, various colleagues in different government departments, the Hong Kong has risen from beyond the top 10 in the world in terms of the FinTech hub to number 7 in a recent study. At the end of the day, when we're looking at this unprecedented year 2020, we cannot help but to think ahead. So what's next? If we were to place our bets on our future in the next 5-10 years, what would that be? Now, according to a recent study, actually has been a few years now, a study by Bill Gross of Idea Lab in figuring out the success factors of startups. He recognized that by looking at over 200 plus companies in terms of both successes and failures from the likes of YouTube, Pest.com, Instagram, and so on, he realized that the #1 factor of success for a startup is timing. And actually, I didn't realize that until reading that study. But #2, you got it, it's actually talents and people. So with that, I think this is really a great privilege for us to have Dean Tam of University of Science and Technology to share with us an amazing study of talents on the fintech developments in Hong Kong shortly today. And with that sharing, that will actually open up to even more discussions from our cast of experts in terms of business leaders and thought leaders across Hong Kong. I just want to quickly share with you about the amazing speakers today. We will have Mr. Hugh Chow, CEO of ASTRI, Mr. Nelson Chow, the Chief Fintech Officer with HKMA, Mr. Lucas Hui, CTO at ASTRI, and also Mr. Angus Choi, the CEO of JETCO. So basically, as you can see, we have a cast of experts that cover the different aspects of the fintech ecosystem. So with that, I would like to present to you our next speaker, Mr. Hugh Chow, CEO of ASTRI, to say a few words to help us learn a bit more about ASTRI and what they do. So with that, up to you, Hugh. Thank you.
Good afternoon, and a warm welcome to this webinar on the future of work in fintech. Driving innovation in the way people do business is nothing new to us. Centuries ago, our Tang Dynasty ancestors developed the world's first banknote, a practice that took more than 500 years to reach Europe and then the rest of the world. From that simple act of making transactions so much easier, the world of trade and commerce has boomed and has never looked back since. Of course, 1,000 years on, the pace of change has become a lot more rapid, and Hong Kong remains a pioneer when it comes to recrafting the financial system. Passions and enthusiasm, I expect all of you are future superstars of fintech to carry this disruption and change to the next level, establishing Hong Kong into its vital role as the financial hub of the Greater Bay Area. Our city has always attracted the brightest and the best. In the coming years, you'll be joined with them, and we're here today to help provide you with a blueprint to direct you toward developing the key attributes you need. At ASTRI, our role in the development of fintech is threefold. We supply technologies covering areas such as AI, blockchain, cloud technology, and big data. We contribute to the ecosystem by providing support to all the players. And we nurture talent through programs such as our Fintech Career Acceleration Scheme, FCAS. We launched ASTRI with the Hong Kong Monetary Authority in 2016 to cultivate and to sculpt the right talent to sustain banking, finance, and business services, while retaining Hong Kong's advantage as an international financial center. It is the first fintech internship scheme of its kind, led by a regulatory agency and a research institute together. Through an internship at financial institutions or technology companies, we provide participants with early exposure to the fintech industry through hands-on experience in real business environments. It is open to both undergraduates and postgraduates in the field of business, finance, law, computer science, and engineering. There's no doubting its popularity and appeal. Since its launch 4 years ago, more than 500 students have taken part. And this year, Hong Kong MA has received more than 1,400 applicants, almost double that of last year. At ASTRI, we take huge pride in this impact we have on the society. I always say that the jewel in our name is the word right next to the beginning, applied. It is what sets us apart and sums up our mission, which is to apply our cutting-edge technology to address all the different pain points in society, while partnering with some of the biggest names such as the Hong Kong Monetary Authority, ICBC, Nova Credit, Intel, the MTR, and numerous government agencies. Our desire to make a difference has seen us building 3 key bridges: a bridge in collaboration, communication, and in the development of talent, which means it's not just our innovation that has lasting impact on our society, but also the people who grow with us. They are the spark of inspiration behind each successful project and the driving force that sees through its execution. These are people who have seized the opportunity to make a difference and have the vision to make our world a better place. So can you. Following our example and remembering that word, applied. By applying yourself, you can take the next steps to launch a rewarding career and mark your own impact on our society. And our experts at ASTRI are only too happy to help. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Hugh. And we'd like to really bring to you an amazing sharing by the Professor Kayan Tam. And this is something that I've been looking forward to for so long. And the amazing Fintech Talent Development Study. So the Professor Kayan Tam from HKUST Business School will share with us about some of the key insights. So up to you, Professor Tam.
Thank you, King. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome again to this webinar. So what I'm going to do, first of all, I will share with you the background of this study. It will take just maybe 2 to 3 minutes. And then I will pass on to my colleague, Ms. Christy Leung. She will report to you the key findings of this study. Okay. So maybe I just start with the background of this study. Well, actually, I'm not controlling the PowerPoint, so I need my colleague to switch to the next slide. Okay, I guess, can you see the slide? Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, so maybe a little bit of background, even though the slide seems to be not working. So this study is a part of a larger study. We call it the film-based study funded by the Research Grant Council of Hong Kong. The title of this film-based research is Contributing to the Development of Hong Kong into a Global FinTech Hub. And there are altogether 8 research tasks under this umbrella research project. And manpower development in the FinTech industry is one of them. So here we have the slide. The entire project involved more than 20 professors from HKUST and local and overseas universities. So the core competence and manpower study of the FinTech industry is one of the 8 research tasks of this bigger project. So this study itself consists of 2 phases. And the report that we released this week is it's based on the first study. In fact, this is the task 8 of the bigger project. So for this report, we would like to identify the core competence required by FinTech professionals and to have understanding about the supply at this point of FinTech professionals with a will to help the industry, the regulator, and also the education institution in planning the supply of FinTech talent in the coming few years. So the entire study started in August last year. We're supposed to finish the study by Q1 this year, but because of the COVID-19 situation, we encountered some delay. And this week, we finally released the report. Now, the study start with a dialogue with the executive, the regulator, the startup, the incubators of FinTech. So we want to gather their perspective and opinions about what constitutes FinTech talent. So based on their feedback, around 28 interviews that we talked to, so they provide very, very important and valuable input. So based on their comments and input, we design a questionnaire. And we send this questionnaire to over 80 participants. And they represent 78 organizations in the finance industry. So to cast a wider net, we don't just send it to the banks or the virtual banks. Basically, we send to the traditional bank and the authorized institutions. Of course, the 8 virtual banks, a number of payment companies and other FinTech companies, of course, including the virtual insurers. So, as you can see from the slide here, this is the breakdown of the participant of this study. So we collected the feedback from the survey, and then we have 4 validation sections. So we try to make sure that the findings from this survey, as well as from our interviewee, they are relevant and make sense to the community. And after we conduct the validation section, we start to prepare the report, and this is what we released this week. So this is kind of the background of the study. Maybe I invite my colleague, Ms. Christy Leung, to report the key findings of the study. Christy, please.
Thank you, Professor Tan. So let us go through some of the key observations that we have made. So what are some driving forces of the industry? One of the key drivers is partnership building, which came up repeatedly in our interviews and also indicated by 80% of the surveyed organizations as one of the top business priorities. The most common form of partnership is between FinTech organizations, including those between mature players and new entrants to leverage on each other's strengths. between fintech and lifestyle ecosystems, which was also mentioned a lot during the interview when companies talked about the customer journey or how to build a seamless customer or user experience. And also co-opetition, which also came up frequently and is quite unique for fintech comparing to other industries, where many fintech companies are actually working with their competitors to improve the products and customer experience. Another driving force of the industry is the regulatory environment. There is a strong consensus from industry players that recognize the positive impact brought by regulators with initiatives such as the FinTech Supervisory Sandbox, the Virtual Bank and Virtual Insurer licenses, and the Open API framework. At the same time, many companies express that regulator engagement is a challenge and that there is a need for a more collaborative regulatory approach for exchanging views or concerns more frequently and candidly so that regulators can be responsive to changes in the industry. A third driving force is customer adoption, which allows the industry to adapt and learn while attracting more players to participate. According to the FinTech Adoption Index by EY in 2019, there has been an increase in Hong Kong's FinTech adoption rate, but we're still behind some other geographies such as mainland China. There is a strong emphasis on customer value as a top strategic priority. Customer acquisition is an area that close to 50% of the surveyed organizations had identified as something that they needed to address. However, attracting customers seems to be a key barrier to overcome, especially for digital native organizations who are experiencing more difficulties than traditional banking organizations to build trust with their customers. But even with more established companies, the key is still about how to convince customers to switch from traditional financial solutions to newer fintech solutions. So building trust is definitely one of the keys to customer adoption. And when it comes to switching from traditional solutions to newer fintech solutions, it's not about the customers, not just the customers who are transitioning. The companies or industry professionals are also going through a lot of transitioning. We found that the ways of working in the finance industry have been changing. And the two key words for the new normal are collaboration and autonomy. So here are the new ways of working that have been taking place. Companies are opening up to cross-disciplinary collaboration, prioritizing data collection. There is increased external collaboration as they increasingly encourage employees to look beyond their own organization in the value creation process. They're also giving employees greater autonomy as well as embracing organization-wide digital transformation to drive efficiency and business success. So we've talked about observations at the industry and the organization levels. What about at the individual level? There are some personal attributes that are named by many of our interview and survey respondents that they believe are needed in fintech professionals. So they need to be passionate about fintech, passionate about what they do, and be eager to make a difference in the organization. They need to adapt quickly to cope with the unknowns, to see opportunities in uncharted territory. And they also need to be willing to keep learning, to build upon their existing knowledge and past experiences. Other than the personal attributes, tech skills are also very important. Companies are active in enhancing technical capabilities. Over 90% of surveyed organizations are investing in more than one type of digital technology. And the average number of technologies being invested is 5. So here on the slide are the top 5 technologies that the surveyed organizations are currently investing in. And according to our survey, a significant talent shortage already exists in most of these technology and data skills. So this chart here captures the top 5 skills that are in strong demand and are also the most difficult to recruit for. So these include cyber and IT security, artificial intelligence, data science, blockchain, and design thinking. Another observation we have made is that people capability is lagged behind tech capability. So during our interviews, many have expressed that insufficient people capability is posing a challenge to the business's growth. This is supported by the numbers from our survey. Although a good number of organizations perceived their technological capability to be on par with or better than others in the industry, there is a much larger gap in people capability, particularly in the middle management and junior levels. The result is particularly alarming if we look at the individual contributors column in this table. So these are the people who make up the majority of the workforce, and yet the gap in people capability of this group is the largest. So with that, let us move on to technical readiness. This is a self-reported assessment of technical readiness of the 82 surveyed respondents. It is worth noting that more than 20% of surveyed organizations perceived their technical capability as behind the curve. So we dwelled a little bit further into technical readiness and people capability, and we found that there is a slight positive correlation between the two. Most of the responses are concentrated in the 4 to 6 range, meaning on par to better than average for both people capability and technical readiness. And the positive correlation means that a higher degree of technical capability corresponds with a higher capacity of the staff to meet the firm's business requirements. This also provides supports to the needs for finance professionals that they need to be both knowledgeable in the business domain and also they need to be technology savvy. So what are the sources of fintech professionals? The top 3 sources of talent are recruiting locally, upskilling existing staff, and recruiting from local universities. So let's take a look at the supply of fintech talent. As of 2020, 7 local universities have rolled out bachelor's or master's degree programs related to fintech or offer the fintech stream in the programs. There are a total of 10 programs at the bachelor's or master's level that are related to fintech, and they're listed on the slide. So according to the intake of these programs, we have made a projection for number of fintech graduates for the upcoming 5 years. There will be about 150 fintech degree students graduated this summer, and by 2024, there will be a total of more than 1,600 fintech degree graduates. But even with this increase, there is still a shortage in the supply. So we also looked at the 20 bachelor's and master's degree programs related to data analytics and artificial intelligence. There will be about 570 graduates from these programs this summer, and the number will grow to over 1,000 in the year 2024. Although not all of these graduates will enter the financial industry upon graduation, we expect a good proportion will be recruited by financial institutions. So one of the main focuses of our study is to develop a list of competencies for the fintech industry. And here's the list of the 13 competencies that we came up with. So you might think that ideally, the more competencies that an individual has, matching the ones on this list would be better. But not organizations will possess or actually need all of the core competencies listed. We do, however, suggest that companies use this as a starting point to customize their own list of competencies according to their needs. Working on the study, we understand how difficult it is for fintech industry to hire people. So we had developed a job board that is designated to fintech. We launched this job board just last month. This is a very easy to use system for companies to post job openings, and they can view and download applications easily. The job board is open to HKUST students who are interested in fintech. The students not just from the business school, they're also from different majors and different programs, including our MBA and Master of Science in Fintech programs. So if any of you in the audience is interested in hiring HKUST talent, please reach out to me or the HKUST Business School, and we'll create a company account for you to access the fintech job board. So I hope you enjoyed the sharing. There are a lot more information in our report. It's already available on our website for download. If you have any questions about the study or the fintech research project, please do not hesitate to contact our team or myself. Thank you.
Thank you, Christy. It's a great sharing. And I just want to quote a comment made by Nelson when he first saw the results. Basically, what Nelson said, I still remember, was that by looking at the results highlighted by HKUST, now we can see a roadmap. We can see where we're lagging and where we are doing good in terms of the capabilities. Now, I think this is a fantastic starting point. But with that, I just want to tap on the experience of Angus to help us understand the real world. Because obviously, you are very involved in a lot of the latest and greatest initiatives in the big data, the fintech. You are just really charging ahead. Now, so obviously you're looking at the talent aspects in literally the front line. So can you share with us and the audience on the call about what you have seen in the market in terms of the talent acquisition situation? Angus?
Yeah, thanks, King. I think I just bring out two key points. As Christy mentioned earlier, in fact, the lack of fintech talent in Hong Kong actually is most of the company in the finance sector or in all the sectors actually is a big problem for us, frankly speaking. And also mentioned earlier is that when we compare to China, in terms of talent pool that we have in Hong Kong actually is quite insufficient. Say, take for example, JETCO, we are actually doing an API ecosystem in Hong Kong. We need to develop the apps. We need to good understanding about the AI, blockchain, so on and so forth, all the technologies aspects. We're trying to build an ecosystem. But the challenge that we are facing right now is that where is this kind of talents that we can hire, not only from local, because locals talent is limited and it also is very hot in the market. So we're trying to look for the talent from the overseas, China or even other part of the world. So we are so desperate in the way that almost like we can find anyone and willing to interview and trying to attract them to come to work for in the Hong Kong environment. So I think the lack of fintech talent is not only Hong Kong, I believe is also the global issue. And the second thing is about the challenge. The second challenge is that how can we attract those people overseas talents to work in Hong Kong? What kind of benefit that we can provide them with? I believe university in Hong Kong is also a good source of talent. I'm also glad to hear from Christy's report and analysis is that a lot of universities start to train the talent so that to meet the market demand. So this is actually the two area I think that not only attracting, we are limited talent in Hong Kong, we're trying to attract talent from overseas, and we need to ensure that the Hong Kong enterprise or the company in Hong Kong, banks in Hong Kong, we really need this kind of talent urgently. And hopefully that the university can also provide sufficient talent in the coming few years so that we can sort of what we call self-sufficient. And on the other hand, not only the talent, but also how can we go after the fintech pace? Because as my personal view is that we actually, to a certain extent, a bit lagging behind. How can we do this catch up? How can we make sure that ourselves is competitive enough? I mean, right now we're doing the catch up game, frankly speaking. And when we catch it up and how we can become so competitive, So that's actually the area I'm sort of like hoping the university can help us to provide sufficient talent and to feed the needs of the market. Okay, so that's what I'm trying to share with you, and probably I will leave some time to the other panelists, and then I can add my comment later. So I think talents, limited talents is actually what we're facing right now.
Well, thank you, Angus. So for those of you listening who are the young folks in the market, I think, Angus, you're still hiring, right?
Yes, yes.
So send your CV to Angus. Okay, all right. Now, so I guess next up, I would like to tap on the brain of Dean Tam, because obviously Dean Tam at HKUST not only has her own FinTech specific program, and obviously in doing this study, you have the preview in looking into all the other related programs in training FinTech talents. So in a way, I would think that if there's anybody who understands the supply side equation of talent in Hong Kong, that will be you, Dean Tam. So can you share with us about, based on your observation, what you can see in terms of the supply side of the equation playing out in the next couple of years? Dean Tam?
Thank you. I mean, as we put down in our report, the supply of degree graduates in FinTech or related area in the next 1 or 2 years is still a very small number. The situation improve well in 4 to 5 years, but the total number of graduates receiving formal education in FinTech or data science is still a small percentage of the entire workforce in the finance industry. So we need to have come up with new ways to quickly supply the talent. And I would say on the job training will be the most critical. We need to upskill the workforce. Now they may not have time to go through an entire degree program, but some short courses either through maybe some kind of part-time program, module-based, or even online delivery will really help the industry to upskill the knowledge and also the skill set that's required by the industry. I think Angus also mentioned about this is actually a worldwide shortage of FinTech talent. And I think Invest Hong Kong will have a very, very important role to attract these talents to come to Hong Kong. We have a talent in mainland China. I mean, these are excellent engineers, software engineers with a lot of technical skills. So this is a good source of talent. Maybe through the Greater Bay Area. Opportunities open up more of this channel so that the finance industry can access to this talent. And I would say in Hong Kong maybe the professional association would also include FinTech element into their CBD. So through different means, I hope that we can generate enough supply to meet the need of the industry.
Okay, thank you, Dean Tam. Actually, Dean Tam and your colleagues at UST and also other universities that have the privilege in knowing, I know you guys are working super hard to at least fill up one side of the buckets. Now, at the same time, I want to look at besides the academia side, obviously from professional side, you also need the, I would say, upskilling of existing practitioners. So I would like to tap on the experience and really, I mean, the brain of Nelson, because I guess for those of you, I'm sure that a lot of you would know Nelson. He's doing a lot of talks literally around the world, not just Hong Kong. So he's a worldwide renowned expert in FinTech. Now, the one thing you may not know, for those of you on the call, actually Nelson has been literally witnessing the whole evolution of FinTech in Hong Kong, literally from day one, back in 2016. Now, so I guess the other thing I just want to highlight before I let Nelson share his thoughts is that, well, in Invest Hong Kong, we spend lots of time talking to folks overseas and also locally about the ecosystem. And we borrow one slide from Nelson, HKMA, that talk about the 7 smart banking initiatives. It's a slide that's just so busy, just so many boxes of things that HKMA has done. So my point is that HKMA has done so much work around different areas, including talents. Now, so with that in mind, so after listening to what Dean Tam said about the academia side trying to fulfill this side equation, so Nelson, can you share with us about what are other things that you have seen done either by HKMA or other areas do you think would be helpful in sort of increasing the supply of fintech talents? So Nelson, please.
Sure. I hope you can hear me clearly. You're right. We have been seeing the evolution of fintech development in Hong Kong since 2016. Actually, it's slightly earlier because we worked together with Invest Hong Kong and FSTB back in, and I think Professor Tam was there within the committee that talks about the fintech in Hong Kong back in 2015. We knew that Hong Kong has a lot of potential to develop this ourselves, not just as an international financial center, but also a fintech center, a fintech hub. So, but things has to be come together. We have a huge financial sector within Hong Kong. It's almost like 19% of our GDP is contributed by the FSI. We have 260,000 employees working for the financial sector. So, but the thing is, we have to be humble. At that time, we know that we don't have enough supply of talents to meet the increasing demand. So that's why, but we cannot wait, right? There's always this supply, demand, how do we do it? So our strategy is to create enough demand, which is the, as King has mentioned, the 7 smart banking initiatives, virtual banking, and of course, we see the initial pain that banks are starting to complain, other banks are stealing my people, and vice versa. And but I think it's a healthy competition that will generate more interest for newcomers. For example, the students, when they are choosing the career, they will see fintech or engineering. If you look at Christie's slides, you can see clearly artificial intelligence, data science, cybersecurity are all very hot topics and are in high demand. So I believe this report came in at the right time because we can now have a framework. The banks, we all know that it's a global issue. Angus said it so well. When I travel around and I also meet some of your colleagues, actually, King's, your colleagues in San Francisco, well, they also said the same thing. Well, you thought that in San Francisco they have high supply of talents, right? But they are also can't find the right talents in some cases. So I think it's a global issue. How can we address that? And I'm very glad to see the charts put together by Christy just now. In the next coming 5 years, we have 1,600 graduates who are fintech trained. So our strategy, as I said, we create sufficient demand. Now is how to attract the talents, and I think we have to look at it on two sides. One is the fresh graduates, and that's a good thing, right? We need them, but it will take time. So now the next thing is how can we train up our existing practitioners? I mentioned that 260,000. Only within banks that we have 100,000. How about we train up like 25% of them to be equipped? Not all are coders. We all understand that, and we don't need all coders. We need someone with a mixed knowledge of financial and technology skills. So I look at around the world, the financial institutions which are very much in the forefront in the fintech era have engineers within their companies that comprise about 25% of their total workforce. And some are, well, some in China, some more advanced institutions in China told me that they have almost 50% engineers. So you're talking about a lot of room for us to train up our existing practitioners. So that's why this will be one of our focus this year. And we're working very closely with other partners like ASTRI, Cyberport, and SciencePart to see how can we launch more of these programs to help the existing workforce. Thank you, King.
Oh, thank you, Nelson. So I think we are really sort of progressing in the right direction. So we got the academia side, we got the practitioner, and also I think the HKMA has literally done tons of work in this area. And now the one thing I would like to get some insights from Lucas is that obviously I think teaching on paper is one thing, right? There's just a lot of certification programs, but after all, those are the kind of on paper kind of know-how on fintech. So the practical side is something that I believe ASTRI has been working very closely with banks, with the HKMA, and so on. A lot of really hands-on R&D projects. So with that, I just want to hear from Lucas about what do you think would be the role that ASTRI can play in sort of like fostering more hands-on, on-the-job skill developments through the eyes of ASTRI. So Lucas?
Okay, thank you, King. So maybe, okay, I first talk a little bit about ASTRI. ASTRI is an applied research institute. I mean, like other research institute in Hong Kong, ASTRI is the biggest one, and we all, work under the ITC guideline. So we are doing applied research with the organizations, which include private company and also government organizations. And ASTRI is a multi-disciplinary research institute. So we have communication hardware, and also a lot of them are from the fintech. So basically, what is ASTRI's special points about the fintech, talent development is that we have a lot of projects with different disciplines, different organizations related to fintech. So in this case, those junior staff working on the project really gain the experiences, and then they will be mature very fast, and then can be able to serve the whole communities much better. And talking about the topic, we know about that. Okay, fintech. Well, just is the ABCD. A is the AI, and ASTRI has a lot of the AI analytics programs like the chatbot or the form processing, those related to the images or the sound. And also we are working on the B is for the blockchain. We are pioneers of the blockchain technology, working on some transactions or property or other applications. And also we are working on cybersecurities. We have developed a CISP for the banks about the security, and also a lot of training related. Actually, that is also some collaboration with the Hong Kong MA about the CFI. And also the another one, the term that is actually appeared in the previous report from Hong Kong USD is the data analytics. This is very common. Whenever you have a scenario such that you want to give a mark to a person, a transaction, or a company, that is something that is related. It can be used in many different kinds of the business analytics. So basically, ASTRI has a lot of projects which is practical, and so we will work and give the training and the experiences to those junior staff. But nevertheless, it's not just that simple. ASTRI also work quite hand in hand with a lot of different universities from the very loosely linked, such as some of them the ASTRI staff will be going to the university class, give a few guest lecture, so that we can have let's say the students have more coalitions. But on the other hand, it can be a little bit closer. Let's say ASTRI staff are co-supervising some of the final year project and the master level project with the different universities. And from the point that is ASTRI will engage also university professors as a consultancy project so that okay, we will take in the advanced research result of the professor, and of course, obviously the professor will be working with a team of students so that we will have this kind of interaction. And finally, actually right now we are working quite hard in this one, but there is a very volatile situation. So we are working hard on this one with some results, but we will expect more results will coming in future. Is that we want to have some closer collaboration with the university, so that maybe some students will be working in ASTRI for a short period, full time, gain the experiences, but go back. This is try to be coherent with the academic study of the student. So ASTRI is working hard on this one because we know about that. In order for us to train the talents, it is better for us to collaborate with the universities. And also, we coordinate our efforts with others. For example, the Hong Kong MA about the FinTech Career Acceleration Scheme, HKUST. Okay, that is also the one that ASTRI provides some training for those university students. So basically, what ASTRI is working on is that we have close relationship with the industry, close relationship with the universities, and close relationship with a regulatory box like Hong Kong MA. So in this case, we'll try to link up and fill in the part with the more practical experiences for the students. Sometimes it's very interesting. With one student working in ASTRI, he may also influence his classmates. So in this case, they will be more aware and be more interested in joining in the fintech industry. So in this case, okay, ASTRI is the one who played the role of filling in the gaps, okay, between the different parties. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Lucas. Now, so we have about another 14 minutes left to open up to the floor for some questions to our amazing speakers. Now, I have seen a few questions coming in already. Let me just, let me take the first one because there's something that I also came across in my own work at Invest Hong Kong. Now, the question from the audience is, as a public organization, is ASTRI actually competing with private fintech companies in Hong Kong on fintech projects? Now, I've seen that Lucas already replied from the ASTRI perspective. And let me share with you actually the kind of Invest Hong Kong answer based on our understanding. Now, at the end of the day, particularly for companies that may not be very well-versed about the ecosystem, particularly on the client side in Hong Kong. So obviously, you can hire your own sales staff and sell direct to the clients. But typically, as you may know, the selling cycle is anywhere from, if you're lucky, 6 months, maybe 12 months, 18 months, or longer. And one of the reasons is that you really have to gain the trust, from the clients, be it a bank or a major insurance company. Now, from some of these success stories I've heard from ASTRI, and Lucas and Hugh can correct me if I'm wrong, I think one role that ASTRI plays beautifully, which is by no means competing with the private sector, is that they're really collaborating with the private sector company to basically deliver the project. But not only that, because ASTRI is a Hong Kong government funded organization, they're also very experienced in applying for funding, for certain kind of R&D eligible kind of projects. So in a certain way, this is really like a win-win or win-win-win situation that you can literally partner with ASTRI to basically accelerate your ability as a fintech company in penetrating the private client sector. So again, this is something we've been working very hard to educate the market. So Lucas, Hugh, if I said anything wrong, please correct me.
I think it's okay. Basically, this gives the idea that we are trying to create new technologies with our partnering companies. Yeah, we are not competing with the existing companies.
Okay. Now we have another question, and that is, may I know if there's any supports for the fintech startup HKUST alumni from ASTRI? So anyone from our panel would like to take on this question? So I guess the question is there any supports for fintech startup And would there be any like extra bonus, I suppose that's a question, for being an HKUST alumni? So anyone from, I don't know, ASTRI or UST would like to take on this question?
I think this is a very good idea that maybe we can discuss with the Hong Kong USD to see whether we can have something come out later.
Right. I guess from the sort of government perspective, there are just loads of support measures and support schemes. And we literally spend a few weeks. In fact, it's something we are working closely with Nelson's team to try to consolidate those information. But there are several websites. One of them is our colleagues Invest Hong Kong called Start Me Up HK. So you go to the Start Me Up HK website. There's actually a whole section that summarizes literally all the government support schemes you can think of. So as a startup, there are actually tons of help out there, both from the Hong Kong governments or Cyberport and Science Park. There's just lots and lots of support out there. Now, so I guess in the interest of time, if there's any questions specifically on this one, please send me a message. We're happy to take this on and then give you more information. So in the interest of time, let me just quickly see. Okay, the next question that we have is how job ready are university graduates, and how much additional training do they require?
Okay,
so how market ready are they?
Maybe I attempt to answer this one.
Sure.
I think the university graduates, they are well trained, in the technical area, and the basic disciplines. I mean, in the report we mentioned there are a number of areas that are very difficult to recruit, including AI, data science, blockchain, design thinking. I think all the programs that we review offered by local institutions, they have a solid training in those areas. But my experience is those who are actually can perform right away after being recruited by company are those who have formal training from the university, as well as internship experience before they graduate. So if you want to hire graduates, maybe one strategy is to engage the existing students, maybe year 3 student or year 4 students, engage them as part-time or full-time interns, so that they can understand the operation of the company. Upon graduation, you can actually attract them to join the company as a full-time staff. So I heard quite a number of success stories of using this approach to recruit talent to companies. So something to think about.
And this is Angus from JETCO. Probably I echo what Professor Tam mentioned about. Say, for example, at JETCO, we have some internship. Actually, they start working, say, for example, during the summer holiday for 2 or 3 months' time, in a way that they can actually understand more about the business. At the same time, they get to know our business, and we also get to know about the student. So that when they graduated, and because I come across some of the cases, is that the student is excellent performer, and when they graduated, and then we sort of say, hey, whether or not you're interested to join the company, and then so that they're more to get the career opportunity. So this is actually what we are doing as an enterprise to promote this student. They start working during the summer holiday, and when they graduated, and they guarantee have some job available.
Maybe I can also jump in. I think compared to 4 or 5 years, we hire interns all the time. But at that time, I mean, when I take them to meetings to talk to the fintech companies, I realized that there has been a lot of things that they haven't heard of, and then they said that they haven't been taught. Those haven't been taught in universities. So that's why 3 years ago we started this fintech career accelerator scheme, which is what we want is to help some of these students to get to a certain level of standards, so can equip them to join the workforce easier. And now those students that we hire, this year we are going to hire 10 of them to work with us for 12 months. We already see that there's a great improvement. I think it's likely because of the emphasis from of fintech or fintech related subjects in universities. So they are more, looks like they are more mature. I hope that we'll continue to have this program, and with the support of other financial institutions. Angus, actually, you can hire some of them from our program.
Sure.
We have 1,400 applications.
Sure.
Right. Okay. Thank you, Professor Tam, Angus, and Nelson. Let me just move on to the next question, which I think is a good one. Now, I recall in the study from UST, one of the characteristics in terms of the new generation of talents in fintech is not just big and geek, to be very good in AI or analytics and blockchain and whatnot, but also have the people side of the skills. So it's really a combination of the soft skills and hard skills, if you will. Now, and the question that we have from the audience is that where does it go? Okay, let's go back. Okay, I see it. Okay, so as a tech company, I think this is a question for ASTRI, but I believe other panelists, speakers can also comment. And the question is, as a tech company, is nurturing staff's entrepreneurship part of ASTRI's management philosophy? So this is definitely the soft side of the skill sets. Yeah. So Lucas?
Okay, so maybe I start first. Actually, what I will say is like this is, okay, technical skill is something that we can formally train. But soft skill, okay, entrepreneurship is something that kind of unique and environment for you to be, immersed there, and then you will have some discussion with the others, and bit by bit you will be influenced and build up your own entrepreneurship. And in some sense, whatever high-tech environment, for example, in ASTRI as a research institute, or let's say, a university or in a science park, those kind of the group of the high-tech companies, those are very good environment to nurture the entrepreneurship. So what I will say is like this is, okay, it is not something that we will have a formal education goal or whatever, but we will provide a good environment for the people so that, okay, they can build up their own entrepreneurship, okay, that is bit by bit by the environment. And so it is quite normal that you know about, let's say, outside Hong Kong in Silicon Valley, there are a lot of students after some time they will found their own company. So those, what I will say is that is the influence of the environment more than that is my viewpoint about that.
Actually, there is a program underneath the FCAS, which is called CUPP. It's actually a cyber ports program. Every year they train up around 50 entrepreneurs. They actually send them to overseas universities. In the past, it was Stanford, and I think recently they sent it to Chicago booth to train them up. And then coming back, they actually have to start they have the choice to start their own business here in Hong Kong. Those are very fintech focused. So I think you can look up the Cyberport University Partnership Program, CUPP.
And this is Angus. I also like to add on to what Lucas just mentioned about is that today's, when we talk about the technology, actually it's not only on the technical part of it, but also on the entrepreneurial mindset, passion, commitment. This is very important because I always tell my IT folks is that it's not about technical. It's not only about technical. It's about your mindset and your entrepreneurship. I was told by some of the fintech practitioner in China, the story what I heard is that they are so excited to join a big company like Ali, like Tencent. And the reason being is that they are not only want to work for that company, but also want to learn from that company. And at the end of the day, they want to start their own business. Okay, so I think the mindset is so different that you treat IT as a job or you treat it as a business. So I more focusing on the passion and also the business mindset on top of the IT skill set. So I think both, that's very important. So this is the kind of thing that I really like to highlight and to share with the audience, because that's so important. So not only the technical, but also your mindset and your business sense, and that will make you successful. And that's also something that, as Lucas said, is by the experience, whether or not you will think out of the box and you have the eagerness and the passion.
Okay, thank you very much. And I'm also sensitive of time. I see that there are still more incoming questions. And I guess I would just, in a way, consolidate some of the questions because I see some common themes. And that is, can you share a little bit more about the successful stories or cases from other countries? So there's a few folks from the call who asked this question. So perhaps I can just use this as a way to wrap up the sharing today. Now, obviously at Invest Hong Kong, we are representing Hong Kong to go overseas, including going to our homeland, mainland China, to look for some innovative companies to help bring them in so that they can employ more people in Hong Kong, hence enrich our ecosystem. Now, so I have the privilege to travel to a lot of countries around the world. So traditionally, people would think, oh, okay, for technology, the countries to look at would be, let's say, the US, or FinTech, or maybe the UK, and so on. Now, of course, there are some amazing companies in the US and UK, but just to put in perspective, now in Hong Kong as a city, we have over 600 FinTech companies. So as a city, it's actually pretty good because the largest market in Latin America, for example, in Brazil and Mexico. So these two are the leading countries on FinTech in Latin America. So for both countries, they also have roughly 300, 400 FinTech companies. But then Hong Kong is only a city. Okay. Now the US, 5,000, UK 3,000, but mainland China, 15,000 FinTech companies. So my point is that as we are looking for successful cases to learn more about them, actually we don't have to look very far. I mean, just within Greater China, there are tons of cases we can learn from. Now in Hong Kong, I think one of the companies that we are very proud of is WeLab. It's one of the 8 virtual banks that received the license. Now the reason why I brought them up is because if you do the Google, let's say Financial Times, APAC top 500 fastest growing tech companies, not just FinTech, but across all tech sectors. Guess what? A Hong Kong-based company in WeLab, they ranked number 2 in the entire Asia Pacific. Now, even for China, there's another study that WeLab also ranked, I forgot, number 1 or number 2. So, I mean, even Hong Kong alone, there's some amazing case studies. Now, in China, you've got the WeBank, you've got the Baozhongyu, and there's just a lot of examples that if we look deep enough, we can find them not too far away. Now, so with that, I just want to wrap up today because I know that we overrun a bit. And it's really a great privilege, amazing experts, amazing insights. And I cannot say enough to thank, again, these guys on the panel, they've been working so hard to make the ecosystem in Hong Kong the way it is today. We've come a long way. So on behalf of the folks on the call and also the Hong Kong FinTech ecosystem, I want to thank our panel speakers for taking the time and sharing the insights with us. And also for folks in which your comments may not be fully addressed, my apology. So please send me the email or mobile message and so on WeChat. And then please let us know whether you want to talk to any particular speaker on the panel. And we're happy to channel a question to appropriate organization. So with that, I want to wish you all a fantastic weekend and an enjoyable day ahead. So thank you very much. Okay, goodbye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.